What is up, everybody? Welcome back to D9 Sports Talk. And this week in the NFL, we have the divisional round. And what a weekend it will be because King Henry is back. So, let's dive right on into that game because that is the first matchup of the week. We have the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Tennessee Titans. And the good thing about this Tennessee Titans bye is it gave them a chance to get healthy. They got King Henry back, even though he said he was ready to go in Week 18. But they were like, let's just give you 2 more weeks worth of rest. You know, we're only facing Houston. We're pretty sure we can handle Houston without you. They went out, got the job done, secured the 1 seed, giving King Henry 2 more weeks of rest, which will be huge. And then the Cincinnati Bengals have been red hot since about week 16. They've just been dominating games. So this is going to be a very good matchup. But because King Henry is healthy, because Julio Jones is healthy, because A.J. Brown is healthy, I think this Tennessee Titans is going to end up winning this game. Nothing against Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati has a really good squad, but they're mostly young, you know. This is their first time being in the playoffs in forever, basically. Like, none of these guys have been in the playoffs, so they don't have that playoff experience, whereas Tennessee has made it the last couple of years, just haven't been able to seal the deal. And I think this is the year they're going to advance. With King Henry being back, it could go one of 2 ways. One, he could just have fresh legs and they could hand him off 35 times, and I don't think King Henry going for over 200 yards is out of the picture. I honestly don't. I could very easily see Derrick Henry rushing for 200 yards this game. Or they're going to keep running with D'Onta Foreman because he's been doing a solid job and just slowly getting King Henry back into this game. But either way, wait for the fourth quarter. If the game is close, Derrick Henry is going to come out and he's going to just absolutely annihilate them because that Cincinnati defense is going to be so tired of trying to tackle D'Onta Foreman and Derrick Henry. Basically just going to let them do whatever they want, like you see usually happening in most of the games Derrick Henry played in. So, moving on to the 49ers versus the Packers. And honestly, I think this is going to be the Packers' hardest game for the remainder of the schedule, well, as far as for the playoffs go. I mean, if you look at this San Francisco team, it is everything that Green Bay does not want to face. A great defense and a great run game. Their Packers' defense has not been able to stop the run very well this season, so if San Francisco is able to keep that ball on the ground, they're going to be just fine. Or even those little dump-off passes to Debo or Kittle or those quick slants, just getting it out of Jimmy G's hands quickly. I do like Jimmy G, but he does have a problem with turnovers. So I don't think that the Niners are going to be taking a lot of shots downfield. But at the end of the day, I have the Packers winning this one. I just think they're going to pretty much dominate most of this game pretty easily. Just their offense is just way too good. They'll be able to overcome. I mean, look at the 3 games the Packers have lost this year. Week 1 against New Orleans, and as you guys can tell by now, that is an outlier. That's not going to happen again. Then they had their loss to Minnesota. Well, Mike Zimmer was 500 against the Green Bay Packers, so that means they're going to lose 1 game a year to Minnesota. So that's kind of just how it happens. Then the last loss was week 18, with the extended season, against the Detroit Lions, and it was the Lions. And that game was close even when Rodgers was in there, but if Rodgers stayed in, they're winning it. I mean, Jordan Love threw 2 interceptions, and that last one on their final possession was just atrocious. So the teams that they have lost to, it's like, okay, well, the one was an outlier. One was against Minnesota, which it's a divisional game that they lose 1 of every single season. And then the other one is Detroit in the last week when they had the 1 seed already locked up, and they're really no point of them even being out there playing. So I feel like they just came out and were like, yeah, we don't really care. Whatever happens this game, happens this game. So I just don't. So obviously, that this Green Bay Packers offense can overcome good defenses, and this defense is pretty stout this year. I think they're going to be getting and applying a lot of pressure to Jimmy G. I feel like we're going to see a lot of 8 men in the box on this Packers defense just to stop that run and then go after Jimmy G if they're not running the ball, and just hoping you can disrupt him and he makes a bad pass or a bad play and that your defense can come up with the ball. So my pick for that game is the Green Bay Packers. Moving forward to the Los Angeles Rams versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I'm not a big quarterback wins guy. I'm just not, because it takes more than just the quarterback to win the game. What I am an advocate of is the quarterback loses. And that is why I cannot pick the Los Angeles Rams in this game. Now, yes, I understand last week I said I think Arizona's going to win. Kyler Murray came out and looked absolutely lost. Also, why the heck was the Arizona Cardinals not running the football? But anyways, that game's over. We're talking about this game. And when you watch that game, well, at least when I watched that game, that reminded me a lot of the 2018 Rams that went to the Super Bowl. And it was great defense, great running game, and we're going to ask our quarterback to go out there and not make any stupid mistakes. And that's honestly all it was. Stafford, yeah, he had a pretty solid stats day. He had 2 touchdowns and a rushing touchdown that took him 2 attempts to get in, which Brady would have gotten in on the first try. And don't get me wrong, his first pass to OBJ was nice. It was a beautiful pass. But other than that, I mean, he didn't do much. That running game was so well, he didn't have to. Sean McVay understands, Stafford is not that great. I mean, yeah, I think he's a top 10 quarterback still, but he also had 17 interceptions this year out of 18 games. Well, basically 17 games. In an 18-week season, he had 17 interceptions. So that's 1 every game through the season. That's not great. And this Tampa Bay defense isn't going to have to put 8 in the box to stop that run. They can rush 4 guys every single time, stop the run, and apply pressure to Stafford. So that's going to allow these defensive backs to sit back and double up Cooper. 1.5, I think, is basically what they're going to be on OBJ. Is it's always going to be one guy on him, but that safety, knowing Cooper is going to be doubled, is going to keep his eyes on OBJ. So he's not going to be there, but he's going to be around. So if they can lock up OBJ and Cooper Kupp, Van Jefferson isn't going to beat them. And I do understand Tampa Bay has a lot of key injuries right now, but, and like I did just say, I'm not a big quarterback wins guy, except for one man, and that's Tom Brady, because time and time again, it doesn't matter the situation. This man goes down and wins football games in key moments like this. And I think this is going to be a lower scoring game. I honestly think Tampa Bay is going to be losing by 4 points with 1 possession left, and Tom Brady's going to do what Tom Brady does and march his team down the field and score for the game-winning touchdown. That's my prediction. Probably not going to happen. Probably more likely this Buccaneers team is probably just going to lead the whole way, honestly, just because Stafford didn't have to face much of a defense last week. That Arizona Cardinals defense has shown it can be a top 5 defense. It's also shown it can be a bottom 5 defense. So I think that they're going to be facing a much more pristine unit. This defensive unit for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is no joke. They're very good, and they're really great at what they do. So for those reasons, I'm picking the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now moving on to the last game, and that is the Buffalo Bills versus the Kansas City Chiefs. And I think this game is going to be similar to the game 2018 regular season game, Los Angeles Rams versus the Kansas City Chiefs, where it was just a high-scoring game. Even the defense was getting picks and interceptions, pick sixes. But this time I have Kansas City coming on top. Just for the fact that this Buffalo team, they've been trying to run the ball, but I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball very well against this Kansas City defense. Even though, yes, Kansas City didn't have the greatest defensive performance last week against the Steelers, but they kind of knew they were going to win that game anyways. I feel like it was more of just like, more of a get-right game where they're like, hey, we're already looking on to next week, but we still have to face the Steelers this week. We're going to come out here, play a little bit loose, not 100% in it, and they still played a pretty solid game. So I think this week the Buffalo Bills are going to have all their attention. They're not going to allow Josh Allen to get out of the pocket much. I think they're going to try to contain him and make him beat him with his arm and not his legs. And that's how Kansas City is going to end up winning this game. And at the end of the day, even though, yes, I said I'm not a quarterback wins guy, because I don't think just the quarterback can win, but I have Kansas City's offense because of Patrick Mahomes, because of Tyreek Hill, because of Travis Kelce. When you have weapons like that, and you are an elite quarterback, a top 3 quarterback in the NFL, yeah, that's going to help you get the win. So those are my thoughts for this week. To go over who I have winning, I have the Tennessee Titans, the Green Bay Packers, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't usually like to pick the higher seed, but I just don't see how any of these lower seeds can win in this situation. Flip some games around, switch some things up. Yeah, something might change. I think if Buffalo's facing Tampa Bay this week, Buffalo could win that game, but I don't see the Rams being able to beat them. So kind of just the way everything fell, kind of just was very good for the higher seeds this week. So that's all I got for you. Comment down below what you think. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Peace.